Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
An instrument of torture that stretches or disjoints or mutilates victims. Torment emotionally or mentally. A support for displaying various articles. The newspapers were arranged on a rack. Go at a rack. A rapid gait of a horse in which each foot strikes the ground separately. The destruction or collapse of something. Rack and ruin. Obtain by coercion or intimidation. Run before a gale. A form of torture in which pain is inflicted by stretching the body. Draw off from the lees. Rack wine. Fly in high wind. Framework for holding objects. Put on a rack and pinion. Rack a camera. Rib section of a forequarter of veal or pork or especially lamb or mutton. Seize together, as of parallel ropes of a tackle in order to prevent running through the block. Stretch to the limits. Rack one's brains. Torture on the rack. Work on a rack. Rack leather. Move along on or as if on wheels or a wheeled vehicle. An instrument of torture that stretches or disjoints or mutilates victims. Change directions as if revolving on a pivot. They wheeled their horses around and left. Ride a bicycle. Wheel somebody or something. A wheeled vehicle that has two wheels and is moved by foot pedals. Game equipment consisting of a wheel with slots that is used for gambling. The wheel rotates horizontally and players bet on which slot the roulette ball will stop in. A handwheel that is used for steering. A circular helm to control the rudder of a vessel. A simple machine consisting of a circular frame with spokes, or a solid disc, that can rotate on a shaft or axle, as in vehicles or other machines. Forces that provide energy and direction. The wheels of government began to turn. Subject to torture. Torment emotionally or mentally. Treat cruelly. The children tormented the stuttering teacher. Subject to torture. The sinners will be tormented in hell, according to the Bible. Extreme mental distress. The act of harassing someone. Torment emotionally or mentally. Unbearable physical pain. A severe affliction. A feeling of intense annoyance caused by being tormented. So great was his harassment that he wanted to destroy his tormentors. Intense feelings of suffering. Acute mental or physical pain. The torments of the damned. Subject to torture. The deliberate, systematic, or wanton infliction of physical or mental suffering by one or more persons in an attempt to force another person to yield information or to make a confession or for any other reason. Extreme mental distress. Torment emotionally or mentally. The act of distorting something so it seems to mean something it was not intended to mean. Unbearable physical pain. Intense feelings of suffering. Acute mental or physical pain. Put up with something or somebody unpleasant. A support or foundation. An interruption of normal activity. A booth where articles are displayed for sale. A platform where a brass band can play in the open air. Hold one's ground. Maintain a position. Be steadfast or upright. I am standing my ground and won't give in. A support for displaying various articles. A mental position from which things are viewed. Withstand the force of something. Stand the test of time. Put into an upright position. Can you stand the bookshelf up? Be standing. Be upright. We had to stand for the entire performance. A defensive effort. The army made a final stand at the Rhone. A growth of similar plants, usually trees, in a particular area. They cut down a stand of trees. A small table for holding articles of various kinds. A bedside stand. A stop made by a touring musical or theatrical group to give a performance. A one-night stand. Be available for stud services. Be in effect. Be or remain in force. The law stands. Be in some specified state or condition. I stand corrected. Be tall. Have a height of, copula. She stands 6 feet tall. Have or maintain a position or stand on an issue. Where do you stand on the war? Occupy a place or location, also metaphorically. We stand on common ground. Remain inactive or immobile. Standing water. The position where a thing or person stands. Tiered seats consisting of a structure, often made of wood, where people can sit to watch an event, game or parade. Go at a rack. The horses single-footed. A rapid gait of a horse in which each foot strikes the ground separately. Growth of marine vegetation, especially of the large forms such as rockweeds and kelp. Smash or break forcefully. The destruction or collapse of something. Rack and ruin. Dried seaweed, especially that cast ashore. Get or cause to become in a difficult or laborious manner. Obtain by coercion or intimidation. They extorted money from the executive by threatening to reveal his past to the company boss. Obtain through intimidation. Make a groove in. Force with the thumb. Gouge out his eyes. Obtain by coercion or intimidation. An impression in a surface, as made by a blow. An edge tool with a blade like a trough for cutting channels or grooves. The act of gouging. To compress with violence, out of natural shape or condition. Squeeze a lemon. An aggressive attempt to compel acquiescence by the concentration or manipulation of power. To cause to do through pressure or necessity, by physical, moral or intellectual means. He squeezed her for information. A twisting squeeze. A state in which there is a short supply of cash to lend to businesses and consumers and interest rates are high. A tight or amorous embrace. Squeeze like a wedge into a tight space. I squeezed myself into the corner. Squeeze or press together. The act of gripping and pressing firmly. He gave her cheek a playful squeeze. Hold someone tightly in your arms, usually with fondness. Obtain by coercion or intimidation. They squeezed money from the owner of the business by threatening him. Press or force. Squeeze tightly between the fingers. She squeezed the bottle. A situation in which increased costs cannot be passed on to the customer. Increased expenses put a squeeze on profits. Press firmly. He squeezed my hand. Slang. A person's girlfriend or boyfriend. She was his main squeeze. The act of forcing yourself, or being forced, into or through restricted space. Getting through that small opening was a tight squeeze. Twist and press out of shape. A twisting squeeze. Gave the wet cloth a wring. Obtain by coercion or intimidation. Twist and compress, as if in pain or anguish. Twist, squeeze, or compress in order to extract liquid. Wring the towels. The act of moving along swiftly, as before a gale. Run or move very quickly or hastily. Run before a gale. An instrument of punishment designed and used to inflict torture on the condemned person. The act of damaging something or someone. Feel physical pain. Were you hurting after the accident? Cause emotional anguish or make miserable. A damage or loss. Feelings of mental or physical pain. Any physical damage to the body caused by violence or accident or fracture, etc. Feel pain or be in pain. Hurt the feelings of. She hurt me when she did not include me among her guests. Psychological suffering. Damaged. Used of inanimate objects or their value. Suffering from physical injury, especially that suffered in battle. Ambulances for the hurt men and women. Be the source of pain. Cause damage or affect negatively. Our business was hurt by the new competition. Give trouble or pain to. This exercise will hurt your back. Cause emotional anguish or make miserable. Extreme mental distress. Extreme distress of body or mind. Suffer great pains or distress. Cause emotional anguish or make miserable. It pains me to see my children not being taught well in school. A symptom of some physical hurt or disorder. The patient developed severe pain and distension. Cause bodily suffering to and make sick or indisposed. Emotional distress. A fundamental feeling that people try to avoid. The pain of loneliness. A somatic sensation of acute discomfort. As the intensity increased, the sensation changed from tickle to pain. Something or someone that causes trouble. A source of unhappiness. A bothersome, annoying person. That kid is a terrible pain. Financial resources provided to make some project possible. The foundation provided support for the experiment. Argue or speak in defense of. She supported the motion to strike. Put up with something or somebody unpleasant. A military operation, often involving new supplies of men and materiel, to strengthen a military force or aid in the performance of its mission. They called for artillery support. Be the physical support of, carry the weight of. He supported me with one hand while I balanced on the beam. Adopt as a belief. The financial means whereby one lives. He applied to the state for support. A musical part, vocal or instrumental, that supports or provides background for other musical parts. The act of bearing the weight of or strengthening. He leaned against the wall for support. Be a regular customer or client of. Documentary validation. The strongest support for this view is the work of Jones. Establish or strengthen as with new evidence or facts. The evidence supports the defendant. Be behind. Approve of. Support with evidence or authority or make more certain or confirm. Give moral or psychological support, aid, or courage to. She supported him during the illness. Aiding the cause or policy or interests of. The president no longer has the support of his own party. Any device that bears the weight of another thing. There was no place to attach supports for a shelf. Play a subordinate role to another performer. Olivier supported Gielgud beautifully in the second act. Something providing immaterial assistance to a person or cause or interest. The policy found little public support. Supporting structure that holds up or provides a foundation. The statue stood on a marble support. Support materially or financially. He does not support his natural children. The activity of providing for or maintaining by supplying with money or necessities. His support kept the family together. A unit of length equal to 3 feet, defined as 91.44 centimeters, originally taken to be the average length of a stride. The relative speed of progress or change. He lived at a fast pace. Measure distances by pacing. The rate of moving, especially walking or running. The rate of some repeating event. A step in walking or running. The distance covered by a step. He stepped off 10 paces from the old tree and began to dig. Go at a pace. The horse paced. Regulate or set the pace of. Walk with slow or fast paces. He paced up and down the hall. The rate of moving, especially walking or running. A horse's manner of moving. A person's manner of walking. An event, or the result of an event, that completely destroys something. The termination of something by causing so much damage to it that it cannot be repaired or no longer exists. A final state. An event, or the result of an event, that completely destroys something. A spill in some sport, as a fall from a bicycle or while skiing or being capsized on a surfboard. An event, or the result of an event, that completely destroys something. The act of demolishing. The demolition of the huge tower was quite a spectacle. Strip of feathers. Pluck the capon. Pull lightly but sharply with a plucking motion. He plucked the strings of his mandolin. Look for and gather. Sell something to or obtain something from by energetic and especially underhanded activity. The trait of showing courage and determination in spite of possible loss or injury. Pull or pull out sharply. Pluck the flowers off the bush. Rip off. Ask an unreasonable price. The act of pulling and releasing a taut cord. Place too much a load on. Rip off. Ask an unreasonable price. A price that is too high. Place too much a load on. Rip off. Ask an unreasonable price. An additional charge, as for items previously omitted or as a penalty for failure to exercise common caution or common skill. Charge an extra fee, as for a special service. Fill to an excessive degree. The air was surcharged with tension. Fill to capacity with people. The air raids had surcharged the emergency wards. Print a new denomination on a stamp or a banknote. Show an omission in an account, for which credit ought to have been given. Make drunk, with alcoholic drinks. Leave as a guarantee in return for money. Washing something by allowing it to soak. Become drunk or drink excessively. Cover with liquid. Pour liquid onto. The process of becoming softened and saturated as a consequence of being immersed in water, or other liquid. A good soak put life back in the wagon. Fill, soak, or imbue totally. Soak the bandage with disinfectant. Rip off. Ask an unreasonable price. Beat severely. Heat a metal prior to working it. Submerge in a liquid. I soaked in the hot tub for an hour. Rip off. Ask an unreasonable price. Take something away by force or without the consent of the owner. The burglars robbed him of all his money. Outer coat of especially sheep and yaks. Shear the wool from. Tanned skin of a sheep with the fleece left on, used for clothing. Rip off. Ask an unreasonable price. A soft bulky fabric with deep pile, used chiefly for clothing. The wool of a sheep or similar animal. Rip off. Ask an unreasonable price. Raise the price of something after agreeing on a lower price. Anything that serves as an enticement. Make off with belongings of others. Approach with an offer of sexual favors. Take by theft. A golf shot that curves to the left for a right-handed golfer. He took lessons to cure his hooking. A sharp curve or crook, a shape resembling a hook. To cause someone or oneself to become dependent on something, especially a narcotic drug. A mechanical device that is curved or bent to suspend or hold or pull something. Make a piece of needlework by interlocking and looping thread with a hooked needle. Rip off. Ask an unreasonable price. Entice and trap. A basketball shot made over the head with the hand that is farther from the basket. A catch for locking a door. A curved or bent implement for suspending or pulling something. A short swinging punch delivered from the side with the elbow bent. Catch with a hook. Hook a fish. Fasten with a hook. Hit a ball and put a spin on it so that it travels to the left. Hit with a hook. His opponent hooked him badly. Secure with the foot. Hook the ball.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.